and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing so well today. So I have a very exciting video. I just got back from a birthday book shopping haul. Birthday book shopping. Yes. So I had a few Indigo gift cards from my birthday. That was at the end of June, and I finally had time to go out and do some damage. I think I did really well. I got 10 books plus something else that I will show at the end, all for like with the other thing, $150, which honestly was really, really good, especially for Canada and in this economy. So let me show you what I got. There is also an ASMR version of this going up on my ASMR channel, which is always linked in the description below. So I just filmed that one, so the book pile's upside down. So we're gonna go in the opposite order that I did in that video. So we're going to start with this book so I had actually already purchased all of the other books, and then I was walking out, I noticed that like a small indie author had set up at a table right by the entrance. So I wanted to stop and chat. She made a comment about my giant pile of books that I was walking out with, and I just think it's a really nice thing to do when you see a small author set up in a bookstore, to even if you're not going to buy a book, just, you know, stop in, say hi, have a little chat. She was so sweet. Her name is Patricia A. McDonald, and it is a dragon fantasy. So of course I had to purchase one, and she also signed it for me. Hannah, thank you for your support. We hope you enjoy our story, which is really, really sweet. So this is The Legend of the Return. And up here it says The Dragon Riders of Kibaru. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but this is the cover. It's not really very long either. It's not even 300 pages. So she told me that the first third of this book she wrote with like a child, Rachel Dauberstein. So I'm very intrigued by that. And she said it took like 15 years to write this book, which is crazy. But it sounded very good, and I'm very excited to read this. And I was more than happy to support a local author. So I'll read the first little bit of this. We get a little taste of what it is about. So Annabelle is a teenage girl who feels like a misfit most of the time. Her difficulties with friendship and trust are put fully to the test when she discovers a dragon hiding in the woods behind her home, and a strange and powerful bond forms between them. When this beautiful and enchanting creature is joined by a fellow ally from a faraway world called Kibaru, they invite Annabelle to go on an adventure she couldn't possibly imagine. Like, that sounds so good. Also, if you want to read the rest, you can screenshot, pause there. The book is very, very shiny. But yeah, I was so happy to see her there. So on to my other 9 books. So I picked up the first book in the Zodiac Academy series by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. The first book is called The Awakening. I've heard so much about this series. The whole thing, everything that these two have written is on Kindle Unlimited, which is where I think most people read them. But this series, like this main series, there's so many books. There's like 9 books in this series, and they just get bigger and bigger. And then there's a couple spin-off series, but it's a adult romantic fantasy series. I think it deals mostly with like fae, but I think there might be some other like mythical creatures and stuff in there as well. I don't know a ton about it, except that it is very popular, but it is like not a objectively well written series, but it's more like just very addictive and kind of like trash TV, but in book form. So like, don't go into this expecting like, you know, a masterpiece. It's just like a good time, a spicy good time. So I've been intrigued by it for a long time, but it is so long. So I will probably read it on Kindle Unlimited. No, I definitely will. But I've been enjoying when there's like a longer series that I'm reading in a different format. I've been liking picking up the first book in the series to have on my shelf to kind of represent the entire series. So this will probably be the only one in the series that I buy. if that makes sense. But I do like these reprints that they've done of them, very sporkly. So yeah, maybe having this now physically will make me more keen to actually start the series. My best friend has read them and she was obsessed with them. I've seen so many people talk about these on like Book Talk and stuff. So I'll read the first little, just this first little bit up here. So it says, I'm a Gemini, impulsive, curious, headstrong, a twin, heir to a throne I know nothing about, and it turns out I'm Fae. Okay, I'll read the next one too. But of course there's a catch. All I have to do to claim my birthright is to prove that I'm the most powerful supernatural in the whole of Solaria. Yeah, I'm just intrigued to see what all the hype is about with that series. Next, they're kind of in order of genre, so we have a couple more fantasy romantasies next. The next one I picked up is Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. It says it's time for your villain era. This is a newer release that I feel like I saw like a while back before it was even released. It is the first book in the Time of Iron series. It says right there. But it just sounds really fun. And there is also a, which we always love, a little map in there, really pretty map. So it says, a tale for anyone who's ever fallen for the villain. As her whole life collapses, Ray still has books. Dying, she seizes a second chance at living, a magical bargain that lets her enter the world of her favorite fantasy series. She wakes in a castle on the edge of a hellish chasm, home to the once and forever Emperor, her favorite fictional character. He's impossibly alluring, as only fiction can be. However, in this fantasy world, she discovers that she's not the heroine, but the villainess in the Emperor's tale. Like, that just sounds fun. That just sounds like a fun time. I also love the cover. It's so pretty. And yeah, there's that one. And then this book was on the front table as you walked in for 50% off. I wish there were more books on that table that I wanted, but I only picked up this one. This is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. This is a Crowns of Nyaxia novel. This is the first book in the second duology books. This series is like sets of duologies. The first duology I have read, and I keep forgetting the name of it. I'll put it up here again. But the second book is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King right there. The first book was like almost a 5-star for me. The second book I didn't love as much, but this first book in this duology, I've heard really, really good things about. So I am excited to jump back into this world and see how I like this one. So this is book 1 of the Shadowborn duet. I don't know what the other duet was called. Oh, it says the Nightborn duet. Okay. Oh, do you know what? In the ASMR version, I didn't take the cover off because look at this. Isn't that nice? The back says, this is the tale of how a chosen one falls. So pretty. So this follows one of the like side characters from the first duology. So it says, in the descent to the underworld, so it's like a hell adventure, which sounds fun. A bride of the sun must choose between the light of her redemption or a dark love that defies the gods themselves. So it sounds really fun. Yeah, these are romantasies about vampires. They're all vampires, which is always a good time. So excited to jump back into that world. And then I have some romances. First, we have a dark romance. This is Phantom by H.D. Carlton. I love the cover of this. Love, love, love. So this is it is a prequel to the Cat and Mouse duology, so Hunting Adeline and Haunting Adeline. I really enjoyed that duology. It was like the first dark romances that I ever read. And in that series, you learn about the main character's grandmother who had a stalker like throughout her life when she was younger. So we learn a little bit about that. And this book is exactly that. So it's about her grandmother and her grandmother's story. So this book takes place in the 1940s, which I really love that. I love the setting of it. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to learn more about her grandmother and her story and how, how everything ended up where it did in the cat and mouse duology. The back is really cool. It's like in letter format. So I will read this. It says November 12th, 1944. This house holds onto souls for a lifetime. I thought I had given it to my husband when I vowed to love him until the end of time. I lied. Nothing could have prepared me for the day my phantom appeared outside my window. He was terrifying, yet hypnotizing, and I couldn't deny my intrigue. I never intended to fall into a whirlwind romance with my stalker, especially because he's so much more than that. A criminal, a mobster, the man who offers me solace from the monster in Parsons Manor. There are many that haunt these halls, yet it's only my husband I fear. Ooh. So yeah, I haven't read a dark romance in a while, and I think this will be a good one. And then next, on a much lighter note, I picked up this romance, Holding the Reins by Paisley Hope. This is the first book in it says a Silver Pines novel. So I believe Silver Pines is the name of the interconnected standalone series. They had 3 of them at the Indigo that I went to. So I don't know if I'm assuming there are 3 books out in the series. No idea how many there will be. But Paisley Hope is a Canadian author, which is really fun. So this is a cowboy romance series. And I'm almost done with the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver, which is another Canadian cowboy romance series. And I've seen this one a little bit about. I'm also a horse girl, a country girl. So I am definitely drawn to the cowboy romances, even though I'm not the biggest romance reader ever. I have liked the ones that I have read, and I love to support a Canadian author, and it's also just adorable. Like, look at that. And I was really good, and I didn't buy the whole series at once. So I'll read this one, see if I like it, and then maybe pick up the next one. But I'll read the top of this. So in this steamy cowboy romance, the first novel in the Silver Pines series, a woman returns to her family's ranch after a broken engagement and finds herself falling for her brother's best friend. Take a deep breath and let go of the reins. So it just seems like just a fun little spicy cowboy romance. Can't go wrong with that. And then probably the most different of all the books I got today is called Butter. Butter. I just love the look of this, first of all, and the name. It is written by Asako Yuzuki. I hope I'm not butchering that. This is actually a Japanese novel. So it was translated by Polly Barton. And this is one that I just kind of seen around but never really knew what it was about. But like I said, just the cover is very intriguing. So yeah, I saw it today and read the back, and it sounded very good, right up my alley, so I picked it up. The top part here says, a cult Japanese bestseller about a female gourmet cook and serial killer, and the journalist intent on cracking her case, inspired by a true story. Like, that is all I need to know for me to pick it up. Like, that sounds so good. So I'm really excited to read a translated book. I've been wanting to get more into that, to kind of see, the different writing style, how a Japanese author writes a novel. And yeah, I'm really excited about this one. And then my final 3 books are all YA, so young adult novels. 2 of them, well, let me show you. But I love a good YA. Also, YA books are cheaper than adult books, so I always make sure to look in YA. But yeah, I love a good YA. This one is really heavy. I don't really know why. It's like such a heavy paperback. But this is Lore, which is a Greek mythology fantasy, I guess. It says, Bind Your Fate to Mine. It is written by Alexandra Bracken. There's one that I think was written in 2021 that I've seen around. And my friend Caitlin recently talked about it. I don't remember why she was talking about it. But it reminded me that this book existed. And then I saw it today and I picked it up. I love mythology, Greek mythology. I was a Percy Jackson child, obsessed with the Percy Jackson series, and I've been really craving like some good mythology books. And this is a YA one, so I feel like it will be like a nice ease into the Greek mythology world again, because it's been a while since I read a book like this. Look how pretty that is. It looks so nice. Also, like, yeah, the pages are so pretty. There's like, I'm pretty sure a few, that map. Yeah, and then Living Lines. I'm so excited about this. I don't know if it's a series. I didn't see a second book or anything there, so I'll have to look up if it's a standalone or not. I really don't know. But what it is about, so every 7 years, the Aegon, I think, begins. As punishment for a past rebellion, 9 Greek gods are forced to walk the earth as mortals. They are hunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines, all eager to kill a god and seize their divine power and immortality. Long ago, Lore Perseus fled that brutal world, turning her back on the hunt's promises of eternal glory after her family was murdered by a rival line. For years, she's pushed away any thought of revenge against the man, now a god, responsible for their deaths. That sounds so good. That sounds so good. I'm so excited for this one. Okay, the next YA one I got, which is, these last 2 books are newer releases, like within the last few months, I would say, 3 or 4 months. So this one is Ava Reed's newest release, who is the author of A Study in Drowning. If you know that book, I also have that book, but I have yet to read an Ava Reed book. So this one, which I think is a standalone, again, I could be wrong, but this is Fable for the End of the World, which as soon as I heard about it before it was even released, it sounded very interesting to me. It is a dystopian, and I heard it kind of, like, I hate to compare things to like Hunger Games and stuff, but that it kind of gives that dystopian vibe a little bit. So anything like that, I love dystopian, so I'm very excited for this one. Also, how stunning is this copy? It's like hollow and there's like a sheen on it. I don't know, but it's so pretty, and the sprayed edges, like, hello. The back says, this world can break anything. And then the inside's really pretty. This says, the Lamb's Gauntlet is a live-streamed assassination spectacle, and the next lamb has been chosen. Again, say no more. I'm in. Sounds so good. Really, really pretty copy. Why do there have to be so many books, and why can't I read them fast enough, you know? Like, I already have hundreds of unread books on my shelf, and now I have 10 more that I need to read, like, immediately. It's tough. It's tough out here. Okay, so the last book I picked up is another YA dystopian. I actually didn't realize this was YA, but it was in the YA section. And that is All Better Now by Neil Shusterman, who is the author of the Scythe trilogy, which is dystopian fantasy, I believe. But I think this one is just straight up dystopian. And another one that before it was released piqued my interest and looked really, really interesting. So even just like looking at that cover. So this is about a pandemic, and then the side effects of this virus is like happiness, like no negative feelings at all. So then I think it explores like what is the aftermath of that, and where does that go? Why is that not a good thing, you know? So the back says, they will seek to silence us, and when they can't, they will seek to control us. And when they can't, they will seek to destroy us. We will not, must not let that happen. So a little bit more on the inside. Survive a deadly virus and find total happiness. Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the cure? The Crown Royale virus kills 1 out of every 25 people who contract it, but those who survive experience a long-term effect no one has ever seen before. Utter contentment, stress, depression, greed, all negative feelings are gone. So like, that's so interesting. I love like things like this and exploring odd different scenarios where, because I think it takes place in like a modern world, but just, yeah, throwing the modern world into this sort of scenario and just kind of seeing what happens, I think is a lot of fun. So yeah, really excited for this one as well. And then the last thing I got was not a book, but they had Pokemon cards back behind the counter, which I've never seen at Indigo or Chapters or anywhere, which was very exciting. So I used the rest of my gift cards to get this Zacian EX tin, which is sweet. And out of all of this, I only had to add on $8 of my own money. So I'm very, very happy with my little birthday haul. And thank you to my mom and my sister and my aunt for giving me, oh no, not my aunt, my best friend Sarah, for giving me the gift cards. I'm so excited to read these. So thank you so much for watching and for getting this far in the video. If you've not yet subscribed, if you have not yet subscribed, definitely make sure you do. Lots more book content coming. Yeah, go take care of yourself, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.